Bill Gates, one of the richest people in the world, who's normally shows interest in the affairs of Nigeria, one of the biggest populated people in Africa or country in Africa. Oh, this time around he's saying something, and I want us to see what he's saying. Okay, see this. All right. So recently, Bill Gates came into Nigeria, and he had some different kind of meetings in the country. Well, he held one, and he spoke out and says, the tax collection in Nigeria too low, said by Bill Gates. Okay, so it was also shared on the Punch saying that Nigeria's tax collection rate too low, says Bill Gates on the 4th of September 2024. Alright, so Bill Gates in Africa says that the most populated country in Africa have one of the lowest tax revenue collection in the continent. When he shared this, some Nigerians were actually not happy with his point of view. Okay, so they came in and having so much to say in the comment section, and this is what they said. This one says, this man has an agenda against the people. He wants government to increase taxes on Nigerians that are barely surviving on his aids and interventions. Evil has never been more aptly defined. Okay, so this one comment from a Nigerian. This one also says, this in bracket though, this imbecile is one of the serious problems Africa is facing. That point actually, this Nigerian was actually not happy with the point that he stated. Okay, so there was some kind of more harsh comments at the comment section when it was shared that Bill Gates was saying that Nigeria's tax collection is too low. Alright, so based on this, you can actually see how unhappy some Nigerians were to this news. Okay, so with this, I decided to actually dive inside and know how African countries are actually doing in the collection of taxes in the various countries in Africa. So I jump on a page called African Fact Zone, and they share this African countries tax revenue for 2023 and 2024. Okay, so I wanted to see how the tax collection, that the latest one in Africa, which African country is actually doing well when it comes to tax collecting. Okay, so number one on the list was South Africa. So South Africa have a tax collection on the annually, which was 2023-2024, that is 115.24 billion with a population of 62 million people. Number two on the list is Morocco, that is 27.2 billion, that with a population of 38 million people. So that means the gap between South Africa and the second place Morocco is so high. That shows you how South Africans are actually contributing to taxes and actually being highly developed as they are, because the country actually depends, or the people actually pays huge taxes for whatever they are enjoying in South Africa. So the number three on the list was Egypt. Egypt pays $25.17 billion. That is with a population of 108 million people. And then the fourth on the list is Nigeria. Nigeria tax collection revenue for 2023 and 2024 is 12.37 billion with a population of 221 million people. And the last on the list was Ethiopia. So Ethiopia have a tax collection of $9.35 billion with a population of 123 million people. So actually, Bill Gates was not wrong by saying that Nigeria tax collection was too low, because if you see the number of people here and the tax collection they actually earn per annual should tell you something. And the latest one was actually the 2023 and the 2024 revenue collection, and it actually says that Nigeria population of 221 million people pays $12.37 billion in a year. How is the Nigerian tax collection actually working? Is it that the people actually pays the tax and then the government is not giving a true correlation of it, or is that the tax collection is actually that low, or based on what Bill Gates was saying? But to some extent, I would say that big shout out to South Africans for actually manning up and owning their country, because every country developed with three things: investment from foreign people, tax collection, and also how mineral resources your country is equipped based on how your government utilize your minerals or materials in your country. And seeing here actually saying that the people pay huge taxes for all the development the country is enjoying right now. So I think that if your country wants to develop, is there three things. Okay, make sure that your government is actually into the production of goods and services in your country, and also the tax collection by your government is also high, and your country can also attract investment. These are the three things that makes a country grow. And based on this, Nigeria's problem is that the tax collection was too low, and Bill Gates was not wrong. But the Nigerians also had a case and a point by saying that Bill Gates is actually not right here, because they believe that Most of the taxes they are actually paying, but it does not imitate or evaluate to what is expected by the tax or the government to do for them. Okay, so these are some comments from Nigerians. Okay, see this one too. All right, so this one came in and says, Nigeria is the only country that doesn't milk its citizens with overwhelming taxes, unlike other countries where their citizens are landed with bills. You should visit Nigeria. Okay, so based on this point, this one is saying that with South Africa being 62 million people and having a tax collection revenue annually, or the year 2023-2024 being 115 billion, is what he terms and call it overwhelming taxes, because he believes that is too much for the people of South Africa. But as you can see too, South Africa is one of the most developed countries in Africa, and if these people are actually spending this huge on their country, then it should tell you how or why or how come they became this developed. Okay, if some African countries can also pay this huge for their government and their government to put it to work, Africa will actually be a developed country or continent we want to see. So basically, this your claim as a Nigerian is actually false. It's not good that your government or your people are not actually paying the right taxes to the right people. Okay, hopefully you guys can understand this point and do better with this. This one also came in and says, when last did South Africa conducted a census to ascertain their population at 62 million? I think they are more than that by far. So this one is saying that how can 62 million people have this huge tax collection? Then he doesn't believe that the census that is saying that South Africans are 62 million people. So my essay people, how many are you? Because this Nigerian is saying that you guys are by far more than what you're actually saying. Because he believes that Nigeria being 200 million people paying just 4 billion of tax revenue is no problem to him. But his problem is how a small people of you are actually paying these huge taxes. I'm not sure that's where the problem should be, but that's what man thinks. That's where his attention is. It's too bad to have such assumptions, but it shouldn't have been so. All right, so let me also share my point of view here, and let me see what I can say about this. Well, to me, Bill Gates is not actually all totally wrong, and he's also not all totally right too. But I would say he's about 60% right than wrong. Okay, so basically every country needs to develop. Okay, and if the citizens are also good or want to help the country to develop, we actually need to pay our taxes. But Nigerians are also not wrong, because they believe that their taxes is not actually evaluating to their problems. The people in charge are not actually being accountable for their taxes or their money they are spending on it. And they are not wrong too. Who really want to spend on something that have no meaningful or nothing important to their life? How can you pay so much with so little to show for? I understand Nigerians with this, but let's take it as a perspective to some extent that every country needs to have a tax collection that actually works. That's the best way for the country to develop. Mostly Africa. For Africa, we have a beautiful continent with so much mineral resources that our leaders are not making any good use of it, and also they cannot also showcase what they are using our tax collection for. So the Nigerians have a claim when they are saying that Bill Gates is actually bad and they are not happy with his point of view. But Bill Gates might also be right too. But based on how our leaders are treating us, the people deserve to be angry. But I would say Bill Gates was also not saying anything bad here. Hopefully, the Nigerians can hold their leaders accountable. When did I say this was a time with Africa, I call it African time. Hopefully you learn something and know something. And also my Nigerians, don't take this too personal. Hold your leaders accountable for it, okay? And also to my South Africans too, big shout out to you guys. You guys are actually improving and showing Africa the way. Hopefully other Africans people too can imitate you and learn from what you guys are doing. The next video I'll share say, see you guys around.